Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Spring showcase in the rear view mirror. Spring showcase. A lot of fun. Reds. Ellie De La Cruz. Bobblehead. Opening pitch. Good throw. Mr. Royer. Not Ryan Royer, but Joe Royer. Happy Monday as well. Where a big addition, some might say a big slime addition out of the transfer portal for the basketball program. We'll talk about that. But first off, spring practice coming closer to an end. Spring practice, yet again, always exciting, yet again, always enticing, yet again, always enthralling. Going to get ready to talk about that, meaning that we have a very, 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 very special guest joining the pod yet again. A guy who needs no further explanation other than GOAT. That's right. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the guys, the crew, the squad. I think we're all assembled. Maybe not. We might be waiting on one. But without further ado, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer, and of course the GOAT, Nico Palizzetti. Gentlemen, how are we?
Good. We're one short. We don't know where he is.
There he is.
Speaking of, there he is. Just in the nick of time. Right as we're getting through the intro, he pops in, hair a little disheveled. Looking like he just got done. Never mind.
The aura.
I'm good. Had a nice weekend. Spring showcase was a beautiful, glorious Saturday afternoon at Nippert Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Quite the opposite of practice today, which lasted for about 14 minutes and got rained out.
Oh.
But things are good. Things are good.
Adversity hitting on a high level, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Aaron, dude, how are we? I hear that you added another family member. Some might say they are very endearing to you. Yeah.
The bitch tried to get in the car.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything like this in my life. I've never heard anything like this in my life.
Nico, I'm sure. Did Aaron tell you all about it on Saturday?
Oh, I heard. By the way, thank you for the introduction, Brad. I appreciate you. But no, I heard.
We're only getting started.
I heard some wildlife issues and automobile collisions.
If you haven't watched the nightcap, I talked about it on the nightcap to Ted and I did. But deer ran into my car while I was driving with my daughters in the back seats at 70 miles an hour on the highway. Just ran into the rear panel of my driver's side. So I have to get that fixed. But luckily it's just some dents. No broken windows, no broken babies, no real damage to the car, no structural damage. So
get some free venison.
No, I wish. I didn't even see the thing after I was gone. But I'd collect myself and look in my rear view, and I don't even see this doe. I don't know what happened to her.
What did you have your steel mounted to your car door? You just reach your hand out, just give it a couple pops, throw it in the trunk.
Right.
Bring it home.
Exactly. Yeah.
With my luck, it would have come back to life in the car.
Tommy boyed you.
Yeah.
Did you just have like the Mufasa soundtrack blaring and like you just kept rolling, nothing happened? You guys are just singing along still, or did
that would have been a terrible omen? Deer killed his dad, man.
Whoa! I mean, come on, was it all smooth sailing after that? Okay.
I got the kids dropped off and got to go give Nico like a half dozen hugs, so it's fine.
Good. Hopefully enough for the both of us. That's what I like to hear. Aaron, similar thing for me. I was up in Minnesota driving up to a lake house, and we smoked a deer. It came out of nowhere, and like we were just all like, what just happened? Like, do we pull over? What? Like, but there was no damage to the car. It was just weird. Like,
how?
Feel bad for him.
Because he was on hallucinogens.
There was no damage to the car. There's absolutely no way.
No, I'm being serious. You can ask my friend Ben and Tom. They both were there. They'll both say, yeah.
They sound made up.
No damage.
Ben and Tom. They sound made
very,
up.
some very traditional names. Ryan, yet again, the go of the Letterman's golf outing. Man, I tell you what, pictures galore all over the Go Bearcats football Twitter sphere. So how are we, sir? How was that? I want to hear all about it, but how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Pretty epic weekend. When did the golf outing Friday. That started about noon. Got to golf with Coach Satterfield. That's probably why you saw all the dumbasses, me and the boys, glued all over that post. It was awesome. You know, about the second turn, things kind of got away from me a little bit. I thought it was going to be a little bit more liquid courage in the back nine, but it just kind of turned into a liquid disaster. It was still a great time. Always good to be around the program and be around the guys you played with back in the day, but the golf wasn't as good as the memories, so we'll just leave it like that. Then I went up to Keeneland, saw my first horse racing on Saturday. That's why I wasn't able to go to the spring game. I had that locked in about 6 months ago. Me and a bunch of my buddies, we took a little charter bus up there, and it was a great time. Did not win money, so that was probably the only bad part, but people say that track is like one of the nicest in America. And it definitely, it was beautiful. It was awesome. Great event. So yeah, it was pretty jam-packed weekend for me, but now I'm happy to be cutting it up with you guys. And of course, Coach Nico. I was actually just talking to Danny on the phone.
What?
Yeah. Yep. He said he called you.
We've been playing phone tag. You tell him I called him back. He didn't answer.
No, he didn't say that.
No, he's all edgy, that guy.
I know. He said he called Higgins too. They were playing phone tag, so I guess you Sparty boys just don't know how to use a phone, huh?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
He did leave me a voicemail, and he mumbles apparently because you know how it shows you the auto feed of what the voicemail says, and I'm looking at it going, what is this dude talking about? And it was a bunch of ridiculous things, and then you hear Danny talking, and you're like, okay, it makes sense.
Well, probably wouldn't want to repeat some of those things.
Exactly.
Old Sailor Mouth Danny. I don't know where he gets it from, man.
Got a couple guesses up my sleeve, but hey, fantastic. Glad to have you on, Ryan. Happy you had your Masters moment on Friday. We're gonna hear more about that, I'm sure. But gosh, how about the Masters? We're not gonna touch on it too much. Shouts to Rory. Golly, you could just tell monkey off the back with that one. But gotta love it. But we're here to talk about other things. We can touch on that later if we need to, but we're here to talk about other things. And before we talk about those other things, Aaron Smith needs to head over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care and get that car checked out. And I tell you what, I don't care what he says, no structural damage, this, that, and the other. Danco Joe's going to take a look under the hood, and he's going to tell you, hey, I got you. 10% off next Dixon, $10 off that oil change. He'll hook it up. Danco Transmission Auto Care. Love you, Danco Joe. But Nico, man, how are we? How was the spring showcase? Was it as fun as it looked from 1,000 miles away?
You know what? I didn't really know what to expect because it was kind of rebranded from the spring game, and so I didn't have any expectations going into it, and I was really pleased. I was really encouraged about the whole weekend. Obviously, starting with the golf outing, and then the senior breakfast, and then obviously the showcase in itself, which really, to be honest, just felt like a spring game. But overall, I was really pleased. I was really, really pleased with the way the guys performed, the way the defense played, the way the offense kind of responded. A lot of young guys played a lot of reps, a lot of meaningful reps, and so I thought that was really encouraging to see as well. And so we obviously today the weather got a little crazy on us, but we still have 2 more practices, one on Wednesday and one on Friday, and then we're training for 4 straight days, and the guys got a little bit of time off before we start up for summer training, which I'm already getting geared up for. But overall, I feel pretty good about where we're at, and it was great to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of the alumni coming back, and it was fun, man. It was a really enjoyable weekend for sure.
Awesome. I'm kind of asking an all-encompassing question and then opening it up to these 2 fellas below me. Obviously this is the 3rd spring practice that you've had here, and it is somewhat wrapping up. You mentioned 2 more left, but what are some positive constants that you've seen throughout each spring practice season throughout the years? And then what has kind of been the most encouraging difference that you've seen?
That's a great question. Consistency, things that you see. Number one is you see guys willing to work, willing to practice hard. You see guys taking it serious and guys working. I think as the years progress from year 1 to year 2 to now we're at in year 3, it's a different vibe. I contribute that to the kind of the core leaders of our team. And I've said this before, but everyone that we needed to come back has come back. So obviously you have a lot of guys that are on this team that understand what our identity is and understand what spring needs to be in order for us to be the team we need to be. And so, immediately you think of Gavin Gearhart, you think of Dante Corleone, you think of, Dingle, you think of Sorsby, of Joe Royer. You think of a lot of these players that have been through springs here, understand the value, understand the need to push and continue to build off the leadership and the team development that we've worked through in the winter, and then also provide leadership, right? Provide like our younger players with, this is the standard. And I kind of start every practice with, the leaders enforce the standard. The leaders enforce the standard. So what practice we're going to have is determined by the standards that we've set through the winter, and it's upheld by the seniors and by the leaders of this team. And we have a lot of really, really good ones, a lot of new great additions. But I think like that's been the funnest thing for me, is that I don't even yell at the young guys. I just rip of the older players and the leaders. And if anyone is not moving with urgency, like Joe Royer is getting an earful, Sorsby is getting his ass ripped. Dante is going to get screamed at if guys aren't running off the field. So like you kind of understand that that's where we're at as a team, and that's taking time. But I really appreciate the upperclassmen doing that. So I would say that kind of answers both your questions, right? You've always seen that, but as we progress and as the standard's been pushed and elevated upwards throughout the last 3 years, you see that more and more. And it's an incredible group of guys, man. It's a really great group of guys, and I feel very, very blessed to be a part of it.
Obviously, you got a lot of guys coming in, freshmen, guys coming through the portal, all of that. We kind of have an idea as to who the leaders are coming back for this team. You've already rattled off a half dozen names, it seems.
Yeah.
But who's standing out as far as incoming freshmen, as far as the guys who've been transferred, that just seem like they get it, like they're already just where you want them to be, and almost at the same level as the guys who have been here?
Yeah, the first name that jumps out to me is Tyree Walker, running back. That's a dynamic room, man. It's a talented room. Obviously, Evan Pryor's taking massive steps upwards. He's gained 10 pounds. He's running different. He's way stronger on contact. He had a really locked in winter, and that translated to having a great spring. So he looks different. And then Tyree is like, the more you're around Tyree, the more impressed you are with him. He's a mature dude who's got a really cool story. He's out of football, then he gets back into it. He goes to junior college and goes to Oklahoma. And, he's had a very unique career, which has given him a really unique perspective. And he's a very wise, very tough, but like very relatable guy. And his leadership that he's brought has been incredible. In the wideout room, obviously, Tony Johnson, great leader coming back. But a guy that's really impressed me is Cyrus Allen. So Cyrus, obviously, same thing, has played a lot of football at different places. So he comes in with a perspective that's very seasoned, right? And understands what it takes, and has been incredible in regards to coaching up a lot of the more raw players in our room, and has been phenomenal. Like as professional can be. I get on him if guys aren't doing what's required, and he owns it, man. And watching him come in, because it's a hard challenge, right? Like you're asking players to be a part of something that's been completely different than anything they've ever experienced. And we take pride in that. Like Sorsby and I always joke about it, but Sorsby will go up to like the new guys in the first couple of weeks, and he's like, puts his arm around him. He's like, you thought that you being a talented player meant that you could do whatever you wanted, which is, the kind of the perception of what most colleges are, right? Your best players kind of have, autonomy to kind of do what they want. Here it's the opposite. Like if you are one of our more talented players, you have to own the responsibility of that status. And it comes with this massive burden of leadership. And we take pride in that. Like if you're going to be one of our players, you have to be one of our hardest workers and best leaders. It comes with the territory. That's what makes us us. And that's why not every player can play here. We take pride in that. And so it's this burden that guys kind of grow into, and it's been fantastic. So those two guys on offense, obviously Tarantino on offensive line has been phenomenal, tough, rugged, nasty, aggressive in the weight room, pushes everybody. I would say on offense, those guys jump out. On defense, for me, you have CJ McCray has been great, has brought a lot of maturity at defensive end. Linebackers, you got a bunch of old heads there, man. It's an incredible room, probably the best dynamic in the room. Great leaders across the team. And then defensive back has been a lot of new additions and incredible people, and it's really, really meshed. So for me, Xavier Williams has been phenomenal, very mature, older guy, has brought a great dynamic to it. Christian Harrison is dynamic, has really bought in. Tatum Barnes has been fantastic. McDoom at corner. Logan Wilson, who obviously is coming back for this year, has been probably one of our best leaders overall on the whole team. So the group is very, very close, and it's a really connected group, more connected than you think after only being together for 4 months, which is crazy. And it's been really, really fun to be a part of.
Coach, you mentioned the continuity kind of feeling, like the comfortability. You mentioned that, how you felt that throughout the leadership of your guys, kind of translating the culture you've tried to instill in the weight room. And I was talking to Satterfield and Vite at the golf outing. They stressed the same thing about how the comfort and the confidence in the growth of the defense and offense, having another year under the belt. So I kind of want to see how we can mesh all those three together. What's something that you kind of felt that you were able to kind of push in the weight room, like being that this is year 3, that you really felt translated the most onto the field throughout spring ball, being that just concluding on Saturday? Was there some sort of like kind of edge or some sort of different type of strength, explosiveness, or anything like that you felt kind of really excelled this year, being that it's your 3rd year working with these guys and watching them kind of go at it on the field?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think for us, it was this term called transferability. Like, our culture in the weight room doesn't matter if it's not transferable. Like, it doesn't matter. And I think the first 2 years we really spent just developing a weight room culture, right? Like a culture that trains hard, trains with an edge, trains and it's tough and it's nasty and it's gross. And if it's snowing and it's 14 degrees outside, like, we're outside rolling in the snow. Like, that's who we are. That's what we're about. Now, how transferable is that? Is that how we practice? Is that how we watch film? Is that how we work and develop our craft? Is that how we develop overall as a whole football program? And I don't know if that was really transferring over. And I think that's a lack of complete program alignment. And so for us, the whole term was complete program alignment and transferability. And so I thought the strength coaches, the whole performance department, and then the football staff really worked on alignment. And it was holding everybody to the same standard, and then taking the kind of the cultural training aspects of winter off-season program, and then transferring it throughout the back end of the winter, really through the second half of February and early March, right before spring. And we do a thing called player-led practices, which are kind of an OTA, like everyone kind of does. As you get more and more closer to the ball, you work more and more skill development, right? Well, we wanted to do that, but make it the strength and conditioning, competitive culture aspect to it. So yes, you would do certain position work, but then there were times where we would kind of mimic certain aspects of having to execute, having to be judged on your alignment, on your assignment, on your execution, on your effort throughout the play. And you got points in our weight room kind of competition weekly point system called the EAT scoreboard, effort, attitude, toughness scoreboard, right? Each week we have winners. And so that contributed to the point system. And the reason why I bring that up is because the whole kind of culture of the weight room was now applied in football. And so it allowed the strength coaches to view things through the lens of a football coach. It allowed the football coaches to view things through the lens of a strength and conditioning coach. And it kind of made us all much more aligned, talking on the same page. And we were able to kind of really push development, right? And so another thing that we worked on at the beginning of the offseason was we met with every single coach. The strength staff met with every single coach. And we went through the entire roster in each position group. And we said, yes, these are their strength and conditioning needs. right? These are where they need to develop. But what do you need them to develop in from a film setting, from a overall physical development setting, and from an overall football skill standpoint? So how can we help you do your job? And then each phase we will report back to the coaches. So it's complete program A, accountability, B, alignment, C, communication. And I think that has been a great bridge for us. And now we can really identify. And then also allowed us through spring, okay, well, we made a lot of leaps and bounds here, here, and here. But we are still way short here, here, and here. So we need to reassess. We need to reevaluate, and we need to continue to make improvements in our performance and how we approach the summer to make and address these things as we go into fall camp. And so it's kind of opened up a lens of communication. And I think that's has led to a lot of individual development, which ultimately leads to team success.
Yeah, that's unique. I mean, we always did the scoreboard type of thing, weekly points winners, and I always thought that was great, but I think that's awesome the way you guys were really able to mold everything together. I think I never heard about any of that from anyone else in the country, from guys I knew or play on different teams back in the day. So that's really unique, and I think that's awesome. I mean, you just mentioned kind of like there's, strengths and weaknesses that you kind of identified there, right? As spring ball just concluded, do you think you could give us like one strength and then one weakness that you guys are really looking to get after?
It's funny, dude. So I do a needs analysis. I just, it's like a packet. It's literally like a packet, dude. Like those are all my notes. So like you can just see like just notes on notes on notes on notes and highlighter marks. And so I have literally a whole packet. If you'd want that, it'll take us.
All right, read it all. Read it all.
It'll take until 10:30 to get through it all. I think that's the job of a strength coach, right? I think the job of a strength coach is to at the beginning of the winter or the prior season is to identify why you're falling short. And then obviously address cultural issues or things that can be improved through the means of strength and conditioning. And then that's the really fun challenge of it. And then as you observe spring, you kind of test what you did and you see where you're at, and then you continue to try to address more needs. For me, it's going to be just a continuation of what we did in the summer. One would be just continued player development. And for me, it's adaptability and durability. I think that a giant elephant in the room that no one's really addressing is that roster sizes are changing. And so, you're used to 120 players, right? So you're used to a good amount of players that you can have as body. So if a guy gets nicked up, each position group doesn't really get that much more burdened with the stress of that player leaving. Well, in today's day and age, we're going to have 105 players going into our first game. So each player's injury matters that much more. So really, it's the teams that can adapt, right? So how can we address having 15 less players, which is a massive difference in players? It changes how you practice. It changes how you train. It changes how you adjust and prepare your guys. And then durability, having availability is so important, especially as you get through the stretch, right? Especially for us. So we need durability and we need adaptability. So we need to assess where are we at. The college football is changing. And if you can't adapt, if you can't understand that roster size are changing, but also the roster in itself is worth millions of dollars, which we've never had to deal with. So now the teams that can adapt, the teams that can work together in alignment, and the teams that can structure their preseason to have a team that can be incredibly durable throughout the summer, and especially during fall camp, and then can train in the summer to make the transition of fall camp that much more smooth and that much more prepared and be proactive in the planning of that, are going to have massive success. And that's why I feel so blessed to work with an incredible performance department. And Ryan, Aaron Himmler is the best athletic trainer in the country. He's unbelievable. He is unreal. And we just hired a new sports science director. His name's Jason Stone. And I had the privilege of working with him in a prior place. And he's been with the Cincinnati Reds. And he is he's like an encyclopedia. He just starts talking and you just freeze. Oh my gosh, this man knows more in an introductory, just like a summary of a sports science technology than I could ever hope to learn in a lifetime. He's just absolutely brilliant. But he's also practical and he can understand how to apply and speak to coaches, and having those two guys to work with, and then an incredible, obviously, nutrition department, sports psychology department, and a great strength and conditioning staff. it allows us to do things and innovate, and also discuss with an open-minded coaching staff, which I think is really, really unique and special as well. So it's an exciting time. There's a huge challenge this summer, and obviously spring's identified that. Like we have a smaller roster this spring in preparation to get to the 105 than we've had in years past, and you feel it. So you have to be that much more adaptable, and then obviously you understand the value of durability, because if one player goes down, well, guess what? That load gets distributed out, and then more players go down. It's a domino effect, and you have to be really, really creative and adaptable, and it's a really fun challenge.
You stole my thunder. I thought I was going to catch you completely off guard asking about Aaron Himmler, because just last month he was announced the Athletic Trainer of the Year by the Ohio Athletic Trainers Association. But I was going to ask, what is it like working with him, a guy like him, day to day, where he's a recipient of such an award? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, Aaron. I'm glad you're kind of highlighting a guy that can fly under the radar, right? Like, he is incredible. He is incredible, and I think the best way I can describe him, and he is frantic, obsessed energy. Like he is completely laser-like focused on solving every issue he can. And for me, who can be quite obsessive as well and neurotic in certain degrees, he's a great balance for me, because or he drives me upwards. I don't know. At times he can bring me back. Other times he calls me at 10:30. He's like, "Hey, dude, I'm thinking about this," and it cracks me up because I'm like, "So was I." And then I always got a pencil on me. We start writing notes. My wife's like, "Go to sleep, dude." Like, and so he's obsessive. And to find an athletic trainer that's as passionate about his craft as we are about ours, it's an incredible blessing. And I think too, like, I really applaud him in two regards. Number one is he's more than an athletic trainer in regards to being kind of like a reactive problem solver, right? Like Aaron is absolutely aggressive, and he's trying to find solutions before they become injuries. And then two is he completely utilizes sports science, and like he has the mindset of a guy that is cutting edge and trying to find solutions, and is incredibly humble. Like, just for example, so we as a strength and conditioning staff, kind of a routine for us is we plan out the summer and winter training sessions by we tape up a giant calendar of the months that we're going to get prepared for, right? So like this would be May, June, and July. So we tape them up on a giant whiteboard, and then for like 3 hours we lock ourselves in a room and we just start throwing stuff against the wall, and everyone does a needs analysis and everyone presents, and it just is like let's talk this out, let's start getting stuff on the calendar, and then from there we work ourselves out. And so we do it every year, and I think that's what keeps our program as fresh and innovative as possible, because we're always programming for the new things we have to prepare for, right? Like the new cultural components, the new potential injuries, reoccurrences, or whatever it is. We need to get faster, we need to get this. Well, we program for it. So we did it about 3 weeks ago for the summer. And Aaron Himmler is the only athletic trainer I know that's like, "Hey, can I be involved in that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So at 6:30 a.m., he rolled in with a bunch of coffee, and we locked ourselves in and we taped it up. And our athletic trainer was in there talking programming with a bunch of meathead strength coaches. And Jason Stone, our sports science director, is in there talking programming with a bunch of meathead strength coaches. And I think the versatility and the humility to just be a part of it and then provide incredible cues and incredible insights that maybe I wouldn't think of, because that's not how my brain works, has been so invaluable. And I've learned, I can't begin to tell you how much I've learned from him. He's made me such a better strength coach and a better teammate, and his humility and his work ethic are incredible.
One aspect that I'd like to see yet again through social media and whatnot is the earning of the black shirt and things of that sort. And it seems like when the players who have earned the shirt get up and talk in front of the team, they kind of are pushing a different, more louder message. And I mean, Daniel James is one that like really stuck out to me, and that got me pretty hyped up. I'm not gonna lie. And do you sense that the team just kind of has a little bit different of maybe forward momentum, trying to just figure it out and get more W's on the board? Because it seems like it's a lot stronger of a message that they're all spouting out in front of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like, our expectation is to get to Dallas. Like, our expectation is to win the Big 12. Like, the players acknowledge that, and the players are the ones that are speaking it. And I think our players work at a rate that they believe that opportunity and that game is within our reach because of the way we work and the way we train and how aggressive we are and saying it, and we back it up with our work ethic. And obviously working hard is not enough. We talked about that, and it takes a lot of things to come together, but like our guys, and I think the biggest thing is a belief. Like, do you believe that your work can yield results, and do you believe that you're working at a rate to build a team that can get to Dallas? And we do. Like, we're not going to shy away from it. And I understand that, it's year 3, and I understand that we probably haven't won at the rate that we've wanted to. And we have really high expectations externally, but the only thing that exceeds that is our expectations internally. Now, I honestly believe that our players I believe, our program believes that we have the character, we have the freaking people in the building at really key positions that work at a rate that we could get to Dallas, but also believe in our hearts that we can have the character and the people that can withstand the trials and the tribulations and work to get to Dallas. And that's our kind of our rallying cry right now. And I think it's being more and more revealed by the way the players are speaking.
Yeah, gosh, I mean that Daniel James, what he's like, I'm normally a quiet guy, but when I'm in front of the team, I got to be loud. I was like, oh, let's go, man. That is what I like to hear. I want to take a step back into the wide receiver room real quick because one of the there's 2 names that have really kind of gotten buzz along all the practice reports that we've had on Bearcat Journal. First off, describe the human player that Jeff Caldwell is, because it looks like he's just going to be an absolute animal. And then how well put together for a true freshman truly is Gio Contosis. It seems as if those 2 names are kind of ones that continue to pop up practice report after practice report.
Yeah, and they're different people in different stages of their career. I think for me, Jeff is just, I can say it with complete honesty, and I've been around some of the best wideouts in the NFL right now, and I would say that Jeff Caldwell, from a physiological ability standpoint, is as talented as anyone I've ever worked with in my career. He's an absolute specimen. I mean, he's massive. He's 210 pounds at this rate. He can run mid to high 22s. He'll probably crack 23, which is 4.4 and below. Like, he's really, really fast. He's explosive. His broad jumps through the roof. Broad jumps over 11. He gained like 15 pounds in 7 weeks, which is a testament to his work ethic and his humility, and then B, his willingness to be coached really, really hard. Because we asked him to do something he has never done before in his entire life. He looked at us like we're like, what? Like, I think he thought the warm up was like the workout. Like he had no idea. He was. I always joke he was like a baby giraffe that had just gotten like tossed out in the wilderness. And this dude was stumbling along, and luckily we had a lot of great leaders to pick him up and keep him encouraged and continue to buy in. And you saw those results just like happen. And so that's a testament to Jeff. I think Jeff is a guy that's learning how to prepare and train like a pro, and has really embraced kind of a culture that is very, very demanding. And he's done it with humility and just a willingness and a gracious attitude that's really, really appreciated by his peers. And then Gio is the opposite, right? Like, Gio is a freshman, comes in raw, hungry. You don't know what you're going to get with freshmen, and most freshmen come out swinging, and then they get hit in the face when they realize that this is really hard. And the thing I appreciate about Gio is Gio had probably the best 7 weeks of any freshman we had, an ability to train consistently, and like is a dog. And I say that without any like I know what the standard of a dog is, and this dude trains like a dog. Like, he is competitive, he is aggressive, he's an incredible teammate. He encourages guys, he rips ass. Like, he is a great teammate at 18, just turned 18 years old, and really big frame, about 207 pounds, 6'2". Is learning how to run really well at that increased body weight. So he's getting stronger, he's getting leaner, he's got nothing but upside. And you pair that with his kind of mentality, like, he's got a really, really bright upside. I absolutely love him, man. I love this dude.
That's good. I mean, Coach, it's been another kind of off-season session in the books for you. And obviously this is another year of kind of learning a new landscape of Cincinnati as you guys evolve the program, and as college football evolves itself too. How do you feel your growth has kind of progressed as you kind of turned the page on another off-season session, being like that winter and spring is ended? How do you feel? Have you learned anything new about yourself, about being a strength coach in these changing times? And you can kind of shed some light on that for us.
Another great question. You guys got them. You guys got them piled up tonight. All right.
We're ready.
All right. You guys got Aaron Himmler coming out of the woodwork. This is great. All right. What have I learned? I am continually learning so much about myself. And I think the one thing that you feel is just, college athletics is just it's a pressure cooker, man. It's a pressure cooker, and people want results yesterday. I think the thing that you have to do, the thing that I remind myself constantly is to focus all my effort and energy on preparing and then working as hard as I can to build connections with these players. I think there's two insights that I really learned this winter. Number one is the misconception of college athletics now is that it's super transactional, right? Like it's not, there's no deep-rooted relationships anymore. And I strongly disagree with that. I think that an 18 to 23-year-old has always needed what an 18 to 23-year-old has always needed. The only difference is now they're making money, the money that they generate. So I think if you can build connections with these guys in the way that we do, they'll run through walls for you. And another, and I'm going to take one step out. I just wanted to hit on this. I think the coolest thing that you experience with this alumni weekend, right? With a golf outing, with the senior breakfast, with the showcase or the spring game, whatever you want to brand it as, is the alumni take so much pride in UC football. And I think the misconception is that like everyone just wants to win. And winning is obviously number one. Winning is the important thing that everyone focuses on, and it's valuable. So it determines your value and it determines how you're progressing. So absolutely agree. But I think the thing that alumni take the most pride in is the way UC plays, that it's tough and it's nasty, that it's freaking played at a rate that, yes, we don't have as much as you. We aren't as talented as you, and we'll rip your faces off. And I think that when alumni talk to you, you realize and you take pride in the fact that you have this chip on your shoulder, and you embrace the fact that you fight in a different way, and that the way you play the game is equally as important as the outcome of the game. And I think the coolest thing is that, like, you take pride in realizing that, like, not everyone can play at UC. It takes a special wired guy. And I think the thing that I feel really, really encouraged about is when you build these connections with these guys and you put them through what we put them through, and we challenge them because we understand the fact that not everyone can play here. And so therefore you must train guys to think that way, train that way, to embody that way, or there's the door. And I think guys at year 3 have started to really understand that and take pride in that. And so at year 3, the thing that I think I've learned most about myself is that when you stay incredibly persistent and when you focus on preparing and doing the best job you can and building genuine, real relationships and holding people accountable through tough love and connection, that you can build a program that guys embody, take pride in, and then enforce it themselves. And the best thing about this winter was you could start to actually program the way you really wanted to, because you had leaders in the room upholding the standard. And really, it was, for me, the most neutral I could stay, and I could view it completely objectively. I didn't have to just rip ass all the time, which I felt like for the first 24 months of the job, it was just, I just came into work and I put on my work boots and I took my lunch pail and I punched people in the face, metaphorically, of course. And as it's progressed over time, I think you see the players embody that and understand that and see that the changes we've made and the growth that we've made as a program, it means something to them because they poured everything they had into it. And you take a lot of pride. You take a lot of pride in the way that guys train. You take a lot of pride in how they understand that we as Bearcats, it means something different. That's why I think the shirts have taken on such a value and such a real thing. Like, players do not give out shirts. Like, I'm like, guys, come on. Like, this guy is our starting defensive lineman. They're like, well, he did this. And you're like they are so stingent. Like, they like to get a shirt means something. It means something. Like, they deliberate, and it's completely on players. Like, they determine who gets in. They determine who earns the right to wear the C-paw. It means something to them. The way we train, it matters. The way we practice, it matters. The way we play in games, it matters. And to see that come alive through persistence and through belief, and through having the right people who care about the things that you think is really important, that you try to embody for the well-being of the university, for the well-being of the alumni base, for the well-being of the football program, it really means a lot. I think it's a thing you take with pride, and then it's also a pressure to keep pushing harder and harder and harder.
Yeah, and I love every time I talk to you, and you know how I feel about you and the work you've done and the progress you've made to kind of, you take a program that reached the highest of highs, and then next thing you know, it's just falls right down on its face, losing the coach, losing the strength staff and all that. But I knew you were just the beacon of hope, for me, from what I know, what I've heard from like your former teammates that I've been lucky to know, and now being able to talk to you and hear how you talk about the program and how you represent it and how you push it in the right direction. And just, this year hearing more about how everything's aligned, not only because the weight room is always going to be the weight room. And a guy like you who's lived and died it and who's been at a program where the weight room under Coach Manny was just such a huge integral part of why you guys were successful. I always knew that the weight room was going to be where it needed to be with you at the helm. And now hearing about how the coaching staff and you are all kind of seeing eye to eye and involved, and shout out Aaron too. Aaron's in there too, getting after it. That makes me super proud and super excited as an alumni. And I know we all felt last year that you guys were just so close. And it's from everything you're telling us and from what we're seeing, what we're hearing around from other coaches, it's all encouraging. But what would you kind of put your kind of why do you think we're ready to take, like, what do you think we're going to do this year to take that next step to really kind of knock down that door, not just be a 6-7 win bowl eligible team, which we need to be, but I think kind of getting right around that 8-9 win mark where, that's the real kind of sign of, this culture, this program, it's translating to wins. Is there something that you can like sell us on and, encourage us into making us feel like that's something that we're right on the cusp of making happen when the ball kicks off in August?
Another great question. For me, it's twofold. For me, it's number one, it's who you have. So number one, the way the roster has developed, and we're going to keep giving shout outs. I mean, I think our recruiting department's incredible. I think Zach Grant, Jack Griffin, Carter Wilson, I think Cass Simmons, I think they're doing an incredible job. And I think their strategy is yielded the right players for UC. It's yielded the right players. And so we've continued to develop and get more talented, but also get higher characters. So that's one thing I think is, as the years progressed, we've done a really, really good job of having the right players. And that's great. And that's awesome. That's really cool. I think the more important thing is, are those players the right fit? And are they UC Bearcats? Are they embody what we need them to embody? And I talked to you guys about this when we talked back in January. But the questions we talked about in the winter was, what can we do better than anybody else in America? Like, that's the question. Like we said, what can we as UC be better than anybody else in America? I think that's really, really important to understand. Like, I think if your strategy is to be University of Kentucky or the Ohio State Buckeyes or whatever you want, like, if that's what your strategy is, well, we aren't there to try to mimic that, and we will fall short. I think we need to understand what we as a program can do better than anybody else. Okay. And for us, that's number one is hard work. And then number two is discipline. And then three is connection. So are we the hardest working, disciplined, and connected team in the country? And do we train in that lens? Because that impacts everything, right? Like understanding who we are and understanding what we need to do in order to maximize ourselves in where we're at as a program is really, really important. And so the first thing that we talked about was how we train, right? And so are we the hardest working team in America? And that's a challenge to the coaching staff. That's a challenge to everybody. And we I think we had the best winner we can. And we translated that and we said, okay, I thought we were at the best place we've ever been as a program in March. When we started spring ball from a complete program in the last 3 years, where we were at from those cultural components of those Bearcat identities of connection, of hard work, and of discipline. I thought we were at the best we've been. And now we've applied it in spring, and it shows that. And the challenge, right, was okay. We had a great winter, and that's awesome. But that's in a structured environment. Can we take those things and how transferable are they to spring? And we've done a lot of really good things, and we've done a lot of things that we can continue to get better at. And I think the thing that I feel really promising about and feel very encouraged about is we have the right players that are very talented and that care, but also we also have the humility to be able to look in and say, what can we do better? How adaptable can we be? And how can we work to be the best team we can be? And for me, that's the challenge. Like we've taken steps. That's awesome. But where are we going to be at the end of the summer? How are we going to use that and how transferable are that throughout camp? And then where can we be in the season? And so I think the thing that I feel very promised about is that one, we have really, really talented players. Two, they are the right players that meet our identity, players that believe in what we can do better than anybody else and have trained according to that culture. And then three, and most importantly, we are taking those assets, the really talented players that are Bearcats at heart, and are making them transferable to the season. And that extends to results. That extends to the way we play the game. That extends to playmakers making plays when we need it most. That extends to being really, really disciplined, playing clean football. That's not beating ourselves. And that's how I judge it. Like I judge it like, how many penalties are we having? Are we clean and crisp? Are we holding their hands as coaches? Are we as coaches disciplined? Are we giving them feedback? Are we holding them accountable? Are we having tough meetings? Are we all aligned as a program? Are we all communicating properly? Like that's how I view it. So I take like cultural aspects of what we talk about in the winter, and then I view it through the lens of football. And then when we can get together as a staff, because we're aligned as a program, we can make more and more suggestions and drill that out through the summer so that we're bulletproof by the time we get to camp.
I love it.
Where's a brick wall?
I don't know how to follow that up exactly, but maybe the position group that has the most question marks, mostly because you have guys who were in that room, have switched positions, being Kai Stokes, Logan Wilson have made the transition from safety to corner. You bring in a whole bunch of new safeties. You bring in new corners. Most of these faces at this point are just not going to be in any place that they were last season. Tell us why, or maybe there's a story there somewhere, I don't know, why we should be encouraged by what the secondary group is going to be bringing this season.
Ironically, I have no concern about the secondary. They're incredible, man. They work hard. They're the least diva-ish. They're the least traditional, stereotypical DB group / secondary that I've worked with in my career. And I think number one, it starts with Logan Wilson. So Logan gets moved from safety to corner, a position that he's played in the past, but was new at UC. And I challenge him. We challenge him as a staff. We say, Logan, we need you to be the exact same person every single day through 8 weeks of winter, which is going to be absolutely brutal. We need you to embody our culture and be exactly the same person each and every day. And then as a result, you'll get great training effects and you'll build this group. And our group around him has embodied that mindset. So we have Matt McDoom, who's come in and has been incredible, gained like 9 pounds of muscle, is running mid-22s, like just an absolute freak, incredibly humble, great person. So you have your corners there, and then you have an incredible group of depth and guys that work hard, that will rotate in, because Coach Veit likes to rotate through. So you have a corner group in Kai Stokes and Danny James and Armani Arnold, that's incredible in the way Zay Johnson, that's incredible in the depth that they provide and the camaraderie and the connection as a group. So you have corners that are elite. And to me, they embody the leadership that Logan Wilson provides. It's a tough, gritty group that is confident, that plays with an edge, that's firing on all cylinders. And Coach Eddie Hicks has done an incredible job. He needs a shout out. He is a competitor. He is straight up. He is confrontational. He is loved by his team, by his position group, and he is competitor. And he, in my opinion, embodies the kind of the fight that Logan Wilson also kind of mimics. And then the whole group, it kind of is like a very connected group. So corner's awesome. And then obviously Coach Vine, Coach Braithwaite do an incredible job with the safeties. A lot of new faces. You're absolutely right. Incredibly talented, man. Incredibly talented, that really connect and really play hard. And, just really encouraged with the leadership and the maturity, the way those guys train, the way those guys compete. And when you go and watch us play, it takes you about 7 seconds to realize it's a different group that's playing with a different edge, that's playing with confidence, that playing in comfort in their scheme, and that work really, really hard. And it's really encouraging to see, man. It's really encouraging to see. I think we'll continue to get better. I think the new players will continue to feel comfort in the scheme. But year 1 to year 2 in this scheme has been phenomenal. And I think you take a lot of guys that understand it, they can help each other get comfortable with it. And it's been really encouraging to see.
That's awesome. I want to flip over to the other side of the ball real fast. We had D'Artagnan Tinsley on the pod a couple weeks ago, and he gave you some props on the impressive bench press numbers out of him, Luke Kandra, John Williams, tops of the entire O-line list. First off, you take some pride.
You're better than Brady.
Yeah, he gave you the break. Yeah, he gave you the nod, and we didn't have to back him to a corner either. He said it loud and proud. But do you take some pride in that? And then who on the current roster is kind of caught your eye as wow, this dude is a workout warrior, and he's going to be kind of pushing the most weight out there as the offensive line room continues to adjust losing those high level players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever loved a group of guys as much as I love those guys on 24 team. Like your DT, John Williams, Luke Hendra, Eric Phillips, Corey Kiner, Xavier. Like they're just an incredible group of people, man. Like literally, I get emotional when I see them. The best part about it is they've all trained here, so like they never leave us alone. They're always cracking jokes, and now they feel comfortable to just make fun of me all the time and do impressions of me, which is hilarious. I didn't even they're do impressions of me. I'm like, well, I said that, and they're like, oh yeah, and they're like, receipts, and they're just making fun of me all the time, which is awesome. I take no credit of their success. They the way they worked. When I talk about how we kind of started, and when I talked about when it's player led, John Williams was the sheriff. John Williams, nobody was safe around John Williams. Even I was like, John, chill out, bro. Holy crap. Kid's 17 years old and John Williams is ripping him from, it's just, he was as tough as anyone I've been around, and just set a really high standard. And obviously him, DT, Luke Kendra, you put them all in a rack, and it's and obviously, Gavin Gearhart and you put those guys at a rack and look out, charts didn't matter, percentages didn't matter, speeds didn't matter. It was who could lift the heaviest, when they could lift the heaviest. And you're just, as a strength coach, you're just strapping in. You're like, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm saying my prayers because these guys are tossed. I mean, Luke Kendra, I spotted 435 for triple on bench press. John Williams pulled 615 for 5, and I had to literally drop the bar out of his hand on deadlift. Stop, enough. You're gonna rip out your back. DT can squat a house, and all these guys are just so competitive, and that's the culture that they build in that room. And it was so fun to be a part of, and I contribute so much of where we're at as a program now to those guys. With that said, obviously, you still have the strongest human being I've ever coached in Dante Corleone, still in the weight room. And he's training at a level that I've never seen. And the thing I think is the coolest thing, and I don't know if anyone's talked about this, where Dante came back literally to enhance his routine. Like Dante was like, I want to be trained at a professional level. I want to have a routine that I feel like I'm professional ready when I leave here. And I still feel like I have more to learn. And his dedication to his routine is astonishing. We call it the DCPT, Dante Corleone Performance Team. And every week we meet with them. Every week it's me, Aaron Himmler, Michaela, our dietitian, and then Brandon Garcia, who should have gotten shot. Did he get shot? Did the O-lineman give him a shout out? Did DT, Brandon Garcia? To talk about
He might have.
So he's the kind of the defensive line liaison, but he's also the NFL liaison. So he trains the NFL guys. So he deserves all credit of their numbers. He's done an incredible job. But we meet with Dante every week, and like we go over his routine. We go over how we can adjust what he needs, and he is functioning like an NFL player right now. And he's so mature, and he's taken such great strides holistically in his routine, but also in his leadership. So, I mean, Dante can do anything. So he's an absolute specimen. Tarantino is strong now. He squatted 605, 615 5 times. And I had a racket. I had like enough racket. We're good. Like, you're strong. We got it.
Stupid.
Evan Tanksedal has done a really good job getting really strong, and he watched those guys and trained with those guys. And he was always like the young bull that was just on deck, and he's done a great job stepping in. Defensive line just got some big bodies now. Jalen Hunt's a freak. Marquez Parker is a freak. Linebackers, Dingles obviously looks like a Power Ranger. He's a freakazoid. You just have a lot of guys that train really, really hard that love to train. And there's times like you just take a step back and you let guys be animals and compete, and it's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's a great group of guys to work with.
What was your max on the bench?
Mine?
In your day, yeah. What were you throwing up heavy?
Oh, well, I was blessed to train with guys by the name of Danny Felino and Zach Higgins, which made me much stronger than I am. My most I ever bench was 430. I put 430
That's good.
once. Yeah, I was a better rep guy. I did 225 for 32. So cheated.
Holy shit!
But I was strong.
32?
Lateral speed was never my strong suit. So fortunately, I was a limited football player, but I was pretty strong.
32. Wow,
that's legit.
Is that beating Kandra? What was Kandra's? Was it?
Has a linebacker ever done 32?
No, I was a fullback. So
I know, but I'm thinking of Danny too.
Danny's strong, dude. Danny's strong. Danny's all type 2 though. So Danny's built like a bulldog. So probably past 15 reps, he's gonna pucker himself out. But but Danny's one rep is like Danny can probably get close to 500-pound bench press. Danny's strong as snot, man. For Higgins, I've spotted Higgins 3 times at 545. I spotted him at 550 and a 555-pound bench, and it is insane. So Zach Higgins, who we all played together at Michigan State, is now an assistant at Ohio State and was a former UC assistant. He's the strongest human being I've ever seen.
Yeah, he bent over row, barbell row. Like it was either, I can't remember if it was 405 or 495 at Cincinnati. Just one day, it was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do like barbell rows. Just was doing like four or 5 plates. I was like, what in the fuck? I was like, that's one of those most random, weird, strong things I've ever seen in a weight room. Just like a very abnormally high number for a fucking row. Yeah,
he's a mutant, dude. He's a mutant. I mean, he was a freshman, so we were doing our freshman evaluations, and he walks in this 315 17 times at 18 years old, and everyone's like, what in the F is that?
He couldn't keep his knees healthy, man.
No. Did he ever tell you? So, okay, I was Zach Higgins's host on his recruiting visit. So I was his host, and I live with all linemen. So we all come back to our apartment, and we're sophomores or juniors, and I'm a sophomore in college, and he's a high school kid. So it's all O linemen. We're like, Higgins, what are you made of? And he's like, he's playing along, and we started playing slap shot knee hockey. So we clear out everything in our apartment, and we're playing slap shot hockey. And the rules were, once you got your knuckles nuts, like you started bleeding, you had to paint it on the wall. And so Higgins is like trying to like, we're having fun, but Higgins is like a white rhinoceros. Like he's like bodying dudes and like hitting us into like the freaking countertops. I'm like, this dude is too strong for us. There's like blood everywhere on the wall. I'm like, all right, we took this way too far. Dude. Like this
He passed
pregame
the
is no
test,
longer a
though.
pregame. This is too violent, dude. Like, chill out.
You got to get some of the O-linemen at Cincy to do a little knee hockey litmus test for the recruits. You'll know you got the right ones if you're doing.
Yeah, I got a screw loose.
And then you immediately told D'Antonio, you're like, yes, do everything you can to get that kid.
Yeah, I don't know how he is at guard, but he'll be a great strength coach one day.
Yeah.
Down the line. Golly. Well, Nico, we don't want to keep you on too much longer. But I mean, we've got another hour with you, I think. So
yeah, well,
let's hunker in.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, or perspective.
Yeah, right. But yeah, what's the next step? Obviously, you're wrapping up spring ball, and then you're kind of. Do you get plans together for individual players? Is it kind of more of that pod type mentality where they set up their own strength training, or are you diving straight into it after spring practice wraps up? What's the next step as spring ball wraps up?
Yeah, so we have 2 more practices. We finish on Friday. Then the next week we'll train. So we'll train Monday through Thursday. We'll do some evaluations. We'll see where the guys are at post spring, and then we have home workouts. And so we'll stay open all throughout May. But it's 3 weeks off, and to be honest, it's much needed because the guys have been going since January, and probably if they hear my voice anymore, they might walk into oncoming traffic. So they need a break, and they need to get away and try to rejuvenate. And one of my favorite things is that May period, because when the guys come back in May, they'll come back May 19th, and when they come back in May, they've had time away. They've done the home program. They feel rejuvenated, and they're just fired up and ready to go. And we'll do 2 weeks of training, use that and kind of just, retransition back in, but also kind of format our summer program. So we'll redraft we call them crews. We'll kind of reformat based on the principles of what we need to work on. And we'll address all those things through team meetings and kind of get everything formulated. And then June, I think 3rd is when the rest of all the players are coming. So all the freshmen, and then we call it Juggernaut June, man. It is a gauntlet. It is tough. So it's really a 6-week push through 4th of July break. And then everyone licks their wounds and then cracks their neck. And then we get ready for July and then Camp Higher Ground, man. So I just gave you the next 4 months. But yeah, dude, if you could, that calendar we talk about, there's a lot of highlights and red markers and eraser marks, and we are fired up, man. I think it's going to be the best summer yet, and obviously it matters that much more if our expectations are as high as they are. So I'm really, really excited with this group, man.
There's really only one juggernaut in this room, right?
No.
The Lloyd Memorial High School Juggernauts. It's my alma mater.
I did not know that.
I am officially a juggernaut.
Wow. You're an unstoppable force, man. I'll tell you what. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. Lloyd Memorial High School Juggernaut. Last question, then we'll let you out of here. How excited are you to move in to your new Taj Mahal?
Man, I'm just so fired up. I haven't been fired. That I can actually move into it, because the joke is you always design the weight room and you never actually get to work in it. And so I'm just counting down the days, man. I can get fired in July, but in June to keep me employed, man, I'll be fired up. But I mean, it's incredible, and everything we talked about, like the way we're going to train and the routines that we're going to have and the alignment that we're going to have, it's literally displayed from a logistics in the new facility, and it's an incredible space. The thing I love most, me personally, is that it still feels really rugged from the weight room standpoint. There's exposed concrete, and it's awesome, man. It's awesome. That's my favorite part. There's exposed concrete, which I don't know what that says about me, but I love it.
That's for the blood.
Yeah, it's for the blood. It's for the blood. But no, what we have capacity to do from a training standpoint and from a performance standpoint, and then the way we can work our craft of guys being able to have nonstop access to the facility and the indoor. And I think it's gonna be, from a recruiting standpoint, it just really pushes our program forward, and it aligns with what our expectations are. And I'm so ecstatic, man. I'm so fired up.
Amazing.
All right, get out of here.
Tell
Wow.
Kelsey thank you for letting us borrow you for the night.
Yeah, I think
you,
it's
Nico.
garbage I gotta take out right now, so I gotta go be a husband. But guys, as always, man, I really appreciate you guys, man. And I think these questions were the best ones yet, man. I was worried.
Wow.
And I told Chad, I'm like, what are you guys even gonna ask me? I have nothing to even speak on, and these didn't disappoint, man. I thank you for your questions. I appreciate your support as always, man. It is always a privilege to be on here, man. I love you guys.
Yeah, we love you too,
Thank
man. I'm
you
gonna
for what
steal a
you're
couple
doing.
of. Hey, I'm gonna steal a couple of those hugs that you gave Aaron because I need them. So,
Man,
we'll
you guys
take
are
that.
awesome, dude. You guys are
Genuine
fantastic.
thank you for what you're doing for the program. I'm hoping it comes to fruition in August. You've got the confidence flowing in me more and more every single time I talk to you. So, former Bearcat, love what you're doing. I'll always tell you that every time you're here. So, thanks again, Coach.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys a lot. I appreciate you guys a lot. Your support is not appreciated, man. It means a great deal to me. I'm incredibly grateful for you guys. So thank you, man. This was the best one yet. You guys are unbelievable, man.
I hope
See
I
you,
can come
Coach.
see you in your office in June before you get fired in July. So
They're gonna have to freaking like put a taser gun. Once I'm in that facility, I'm not leaving, dude. Look over my dead body, man. I'm not going out gracefully, too. Just know that. They're gonna have to call the freaking the police squad. I'm like Wolf of Wall Street, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all fired up, man.
Let's go.
National
Let's go.
Guard, man. I'm all, dude. It's you guys gotta. I mean, I think I don't want to put a date out there because the grand opening's in early June, and then we're gonna try to be moved in June 16th is the expectation. If not, when we get back from 4th of July break. But yeah, I might never leave, dude. It's awesome. It is freaking awesome. I got the blow up mattresses already, dude.
Wow.
I'm talking nonstop.
No. Okay.
50 years from now, there's just a tombstone. He wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
We tried, but he wouldn't leave.
He burned out.
Here
under the
lies
iron,
Nico.
baby. I appreciate you guys, man.
See you Wednesday,
Have a good
brother.
night, guys.
All right, Coach. See you, man. Well,
All right, that wraps it up. Everybody have a good night.
Nico, goat. Absolute goat. Golly. And
All right.
I'm extremely jealous of those hugs, man. He gives good ones. He really does. For your dear heart, Aaron. Well, I mean, there's nothing more I have to say about football. I think Nico just took all the excitement needed and put it in the first hour of this pod. So let's go ahead and timestamp.
Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company. For all your non-food products, they service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries. They provide a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies. For all your janitorial needs, call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. Also, if you have a business that you're looking to promote, you're looking to advertise to the largest and most loyal UC fan base on the internet, you call, contact me, however, and we've got a couple spots open. We got Riffin' with Royer is an open sponsorship. The Mailbag is a possibility. We have one spot open on the BCJ podcast. Maybe our new podcast, The Road to Omaha with JP.
How about that?
Shouts to
him.
up your alley. What do you think
Let's
about that,
go.
Royer? JP
Love
is
it.
now part
John
of the network.
Peter.
So
He's
yeah,
the
we got a
man.
couple spots open. If you're interested, hit me up, send me a DM, private message on Bearcat Journal, a DM on Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be, and we'll talk. We'll get you set up and get you into the family.
How about a walk-off suicide squeeze bunt? Unbelievable.
That's ballsy. Ballsy.
Official ball.
Conference game, extra innings,
Bishop
walk
ballsy.
off, suicide squeeze.
Unreal. And then the interview is fantastic too. So, and obviously, Coach has some great things to say about him. But yeah, it's time to riff, and I love nothing more than riffing with my good friend Ryan Royer. So, straight from Coachella here on your screen now, Mr. Ryan Royer. Take it away, buddy.
We doing it?
We're doing it.
All right. Who was your biggest standout in the spring game for those who were able to take it in? So I'm guessing that's just Chad and Aaron.
Yeah, Brent couldn't make it. Thanks, Brent.
Yeah.
Or Brent, was there someone that the most hype you heard of on the interweb?
I'll let Chad and Aaron go first, and then I'll sweep in my little crumbs at the end.
I'll go with the guy that had the biggest, most impressive, maybe the first interception of the day, in Taden Barnes. Fiery guy, big emotional impact type of guy. He's had a good spring. He's flashed multiple times. I think he's going to be a guy that gives great energy to the back end of that defense. A guy that can make some plays from the, like a coverage safety spot outside the numbers. I've been impressed by him. I like his consistency from what I've seen so far. I haven't seen really any like, oh, somebody's wide open. Who's the guy chasing him? Oh, it's Taden Barnes. I haven't seen a lot of that. So I'll go Taden Barnes for his interception and having a solid day at the back end of the Bearcats defense.
I wanted to go Logan Wilson just because he was probably the loudest out there, just barking at somebody the entire time. But he didn't quite make enough plays for me. So instead, I'm going to go with Kamori Smith, actually. I
was thinking about him today, Aaron. I was thinking about him today.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll add when you're done. I was thinking about him today.
Just a freshman tight end, true freshman tight end, who it seems that he's got a pretty good foothold on the number 2 tight end spot. I don't know if that's no. Okay. It just seemed every time I looked up, he was running with the ones, he was running with the twos.
They don't like Royer wasn't going to do anything.
I get
they
that.
weren't going to have Gerd out there. I would say the 2 second-year guys in Zahersky and Gavin Grover are ahead of him, but he has made a lot of plays this spring for a true freshman.
He did just that all over the place on Saturday. So I don't know. Maybe if they handed out depth charts, we'd have a clue. Pods and players sitting out, and
I will have that after spring ball has completed. I was having some conversations today about the offensive 2 deep. Talking to Tyson Veit soon about the defensive 2 deep, since they didn't really show it a whole lot in practice where you can just jot it down and you've got it. I want to make sure if I put something out there that we're as accurate as possible on what it looks like going into the summer. So I felt it needed a little bit more time put into it than just writing down like what they run out there on the first series. Because usually that's the telltale sign. The first series of the ones, you write down the starters. The first series of the 2s, you write down your starters, and that's the 1s and 2s. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So I'm working on it, but he has made a big impression, Aaron.
Well,
he has.
I do want to say that was the first practice that I've seen firsthand.
Yeah.
He was out there with the 1s in the first group. So I'm not just coming out of left field with this name where I thought he was up as high as I thought. But in any case, he was making plays with anybody who was in there at quarterback. He had a touchdown. He had, I think Keegan even wrote about it. He had a tough grab on a flat route. He was making
plays.
Yeah.
Good catch radius. He's big. He runs good routes. Looks like he's got some physicality to him. And they have found him in the end zone quite a bit. Like I've got multiple notes of him being a guy that made a play in the end zone throughout a bunch of the practices in the spring. So he definitely backed it up on Saturday. And if you're looking for last year we talked a ton about the freshman defenders. This year with Gio, with Smith, we might be talking about the offensive guys a little bit stepping up from this freshman class early, because those are two guys that have been impressive.
Yeah, I go back and watch Tatum Barnes' tape from last season. The dude plays with an edge. The basketball team needed some dogs out of the portal. Well, the football team got a dog out of him. So I love seeing him make that play. And then obviously he did the throw the ball up in the air. And I'm sure that people will say don't do that anymore. But hey, I love to see the fire. I just can't get off Jeff Caldwell. I think, it was obviously great, what we had in Xavier Henderson the last couple of seasons. But from all accounts, this dude sounds like the real deal. So seeing him snare a touchdown and Aaron, I'm interested to hear your thoughts first time seeing him. Does he fit the bill of what all this lore behind him has been producing? Because Nico just spouted out some pretty damn incredible things about him, comparing him to some of the best wide receivers in the NFL right now that came out of Ohio State when Nico was there. So that's some high praise.
I'm not ready to go that far.
Yeah,
but he's huge and he runs and he's got pretty good hands. He has dropped a couple balls that he should have caught this spring, but other than that, he's been awesome.
And Nico's making it seem like that his ceiling has still yet to be found.
Right.
That when they got him, and they've only had him for a couple months, and what
4
they were
months.
able to get out of him. I mean,
well, I wonder how much of that is. I wonder how much of that is the drop balls or the PBUs, because it seems like there are some times where, and it happened again at the spring football game, where he wasn't able to come down cleanly a couple different times. So maybe that's the difference between him hitting that ceiling and kind of where he is right now, still developing.
Yeah. And, he's going to have all summer to keep running more routes, and he's going to get more comfortable with his body. He's probably going to get stronger and faster too in the summer, because they grind off in the summer as well. And then a whole fall camp too. So he's only going to get more comfortable at the university with his quarterback, in the weight room with his teammates. So I'm thinking there's still more. So I'm really excited about him.
I just love Nico talking about the fact that he had no idea what he was even getting into. He thought that the warm-up was the workout.
Dude, it's the pace.
That was a funny quote.
Crazy.
Lindenwood, baby. They don't train like this at Lindenwood, Jeff.
There's just no chill ever. It's just everywhere you're running to, and everything's fast-paced. And you'd think that means it would be over quick, but no, it's still – you're still down there. You're wondering –
only just beginning.
Yeah.
All right, Roy, take it away, buddy.
All right. Going into year 3, you hear all the good stuff. I kind of mentioned that from, you talk to the coaches, you talk to Nico, and, the confidence keeps building, and we felt close last year. Where would you guys kind of give a grade on your excitement / expectations, being like A+ is like, oh, like, I know we're going to win 8-9 games, or like F being like, yeah, we're going to regress, and I think we're going to be a 3-win team. Obviously, I don't think any of us are going to be down there, but that's kind of like how to kind of scale your grade system on excitement post-spring. Expectations too.
It's so hard in this league because everything is so tight. Like, even if you've gotten up to the pack, even if you've caught up with the pack, you're still going to be playing in 5, 6, 7 like 1-score games in the fourth quarter. So do they have enough juice to get over the hump in more of those games than not? I think they're very close, much closer than I felt going into year 1. Last year, there were points that it felt good, but I think we all looked at that schedule, and we said it on this show throughout the offseason into the season. They're going to have to be really good early because it gets really hard late, and they couldn't hold up. And that's going to be, the schedule doesn't look as daunting down the stretch. I think this should be at least a 7-win team. The quarterback is back. I need to see what they do at left tackle in the portal, because I don't think they have a left tackle right now. I think they've rotated a lot of guys in there to kind of figure out, like, do we have anything? Like Aaron will tell you, Ethan Green hadn't practiced at left tackle all spring, and he was in there at left tackle with the ones for the spring game, the spring showcase.
Practice one and Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think they're okay. Like, I think Tengastal, Gerhardt, Teo at guard is fine. I think that'll be good. I think Buford made huge strides at right tackle last year, but I want to know how much of that was maybe Caldwell, because John Williams was so good and so reliable. You could slide protection to protect your right tackle, which you couldn't do the year before when they had problems at both tackles. They have got to figure out a way in the portal to find a starter at left tackle. And if they do that, I think the offense has a chance to be really good, because I do like what I've seen from Cyrus Allen. I love what I've seen from Jeff Caldwell. You have a trio of young guys that I think are primed to make a jump. Elijah Jones, Dakari Anderson, Gio, I think has a chance to make an impact in his freshman year if he gets a chance, if he can continue to work his way up the depth chart. But you're really good at tight end. You're really good at running back. Offensive line, especially left tackle, that's the stalwart position. I think that is a huge factor. If they can get it right, then I think this offense can be pretty dang good. And then defensively, you guys know my stance. I love Tyson Vite. I love the way that these guys are playing so far. They're playing with more of an edge. They're starting to look like Bearcat defenses of old, where, maybe they'll have a bad, like, this is one of my favorite things about you guys when you were there, Royer. Maybe you'd have a bad first half hour of practice, but it was never a bad practice. Like, I don't ever really remember when that group really got going under Free that, like, things were bad for the entirety of a practice. It always got self-corrected. And I think they're heading in that direction with their leadership, with the number of guys that they've got that I think can make plays at all three levels of the defense. Still need to find out if they've got a pass rusher, if they've really got, because I do think one of the reasons that things turned the corner was Maje was so damn disruptive at every turn. Even if he wasn't getting to the quarterback, defenses were disrupted by his presence. Do they have that type of guy? I don't know. But everything else looks good. I like what they look like at corner. I like what we're seeing at safety. They've got a lot of depth and talent at linebacker. Dante in the middle. So I think this has the makings of a 7-win team. Plus 7, that's the floor for this group, I think. It should be.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Give the sniffles. I'm allergic to not making bowl games. So the thing for me mainly is kind of what Nico was voicing, as well as, like, you have quote unquote like star, like your best players are coming back at some of the most important positions. Like having like Dante is just the fact that, like, just a space eater out there on the defensive line in a league that likes to run the football is a massive luxury. Having a quarterback like Sorsby that has upward potential still, I think, and is a luxury to have. Then you throw in this mix of wide receivers, but you have a tight end who, the security blanket is arguably one of the most important wide receiver options, if you will, for any quarterback. And when you have someone as good as Joe Royer is in that role, it's kind of is a luxury to have. And then as Chad was alluding to, in year 2 of Tyson Vite and his system, think about all the linebackers now that are in season 2 of that system as well, and I think that it's going to only help them out. So I'm mighty bullish on the season, obviously, and I do think that kind of just the vibes I wasn't there, but that you can just sense in the videos and the interviews and things like that. It's not people talking like fake, like Daniel James's little thing. I keep bringing that up. Go watch it if you haven't. It's just like even like some of the quieter underclassmen on the team have a loud voice trying to like say like, listen, we got to get over this damn hump. Like I'm sick and tired of losing type scenario. So I just think it's the feeling you need to have. And like Chad said, offensive line is the only thing that kind of scares me. And it's funny thinking last season how that was kind of the strength heading into the year. So if they can figure that out and just find the right mix that works, then I think it's going to be a really good season.
Here's the thing, Walrus. I'm interested if Ryan agrees with me or not. I don't think last year was bad football. Year one, sure, like it wasn't great. I don't think last year was bad football. I just don't think the roster was good enough. Like,
the receiver room really killed the offense.
Yeah, the offense, once teams kind of figured out, we'll let them run on us. Like, we're going to try to stop the run, but we'll let them get their 140 yards on the ground, but we're going to take away Xavier Henderson and kind of bracket Joe Royer, and they're not going to be able to do anything else. And once the offense stalled, they just couldn't figure it out, and it affected Sorsby's confidence. He didn't throw the ball well through the back half of the season, but I don't look at last year. Like I look at that first year, and there was some bad football. Bad football. I didn't feel like they played poorly last year. I just didn't feel like they did the little things to win. And that's a completely different discussion than what we had in year one, especially, once the ball really started rolling downhill, there was some bad football the final 5-6 weeks of the season. I thought the defense last year continued to improve throughout the season. By the end of the season, I thought the defense was playing a respectable brand of football. Were they great? No, but they weren't getting lit up, especially when you consider the offense wasn't doing them a whole lot of favors. There was a lot of 3 and outs last year towards the end of the year. So I get, they haven't won enough, and I get the trepidation. I just don't think they played bad last year. They just weren't good enough.
Royer, take it away.
All right. Who do you guys think would be the best golfer on the UC football team and basketball team?
Wow.
Quarterbacks are usually golfers, but I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to go Lichty. I bet Lichty can golf.
Yeah.
I don't know about Sorsby. Sorsby's a wrestling guy. I don't know if he's a golfer. I bet Lichty. I just get a vibe from Lichty that Lichty can golf.
Okay. Josh Reed was the big golfer on the basketball side, right?
He was.
He is no mas. So
you guys had some golfers like AP, like Sauce apparently can golf, but like AP,
Alec, Ben Bryant,
and
Bryce,
and
Will, they're all good. Josh
I'm
Wiley's
surprised.
pretty good.
I'm surprised
Josh
Wiley
good, right?
can golf well with how tall he is. So, shouts to him. My pick would still be Ryan Royer if he still had eligibility, but gosh,
no.
Yeah. I mean, let's see here. I feel like Chad is obviously taking the ones that I would pick first and foremost.
I just said Lichty.
What about Peak? Let's go Peak. I feel like he's
Peak can golf.
Yeah. I'll give him a little bit of golf nod right there. Why not?
Okay.
Why not? Maybe
Aaron
Todd.
No. Aaron? No. Okay.
Aaron's gone. Royer, who won the is it a golf like competition, or is it kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
just like
scramble. I don't remember who won. I was too busy eating.
So the
I
back
wasn't
nine
paying
was hard.
attention.
Was not good.
Yeah, the back nine was rough.
How many
Not
of your shots did you
falling. I had a couple good shots to start. I made a good putt. I didn't play horrible the first 9. The second 9 was just for fun. Funsy time.
Yep.
What about Max Fletcher?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Aussie golfer.
I don't remember Fletch talking about golf. I can't remember if he would go out and play, if it's in the family or not.
I just assumed with him being in Arkansas, there was probably not a ton to do down there, and nice enough weather. Maybe you just pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Aussies golf a whole lot.
Dante was trying to get into golf a little bit back when he was posting those Instagram videos. So.
Snap the club in half every swing.
Yeah, I bet he could go out there and whack it. Well, Ryan.
Yeah, Brent, you want to segue us into the
yeah
the thing I was texting
it was
you
kind of it was kind of similar to this path that we were on right now, because you were texting me during the outing, and you sent me that video of your swing, and I was like, that's not a golf club, and you were like, ha ha ha, funny. Anyway, then you were like, text me again on Sunday while you were watching the Masters. You're like, dude, why am I crying in the club right now watching, Rory get over the hump and finally secure that career Grand Slam? And I said, yeah, that's a good point. And you're like, hey man, if you could be a professional athlete in one of the non-big 3 sports, what would it be? And I was like, whoa, dude, hey, these questions that you always ask, like, we could talk about it, but I think we should just present that on the BVP. And you said, dude, it's a great idea, man. Love you. And I said, love you too. And now we're here on the BVP. And now the question is, take away the big 3, football, baseball, basketball. What are you a professional athlete in?
Nothing.
No, like what would you want to be?
Not a single thing.
If you could be great at one of them.
If I could go back to my skinny days, it would be as a sprinter. Like that was my thing. I could pick them up and put them down. And there's nothing, more manly than just being able to beat somebody in a foot race. Like, here's the starting point, here's the end point. Me and you, let's go. Still, like, that's a lot of technique and training. I'm talking about just being faster than somebody else. Like, if there's a bear running after us, you're going to get eaten because I'm faster than you. You don't have to outrun the bear, Royer. You just got to outrun the person behind you.
That's a good point.
You see Chad getting on the blocks going up against Usain Bolt a few years ago. That'd be nice. The dream days.
I love UFC and hockey. I mean, UFC is probably not the most health conscious choice, just getting your head beat in. But if you were like the John Jones, like the McGregor, like that would be pretty cool.
It'd be a fun little laugh.
Yeah, I'm not much of a fighter.
I think I'd be a golfer. You get to travel all over the world. Yep. You get to be outside in beautiful weather, whether you're training or oftentimes playing. And you can be in elite shape, or you can be John Daly and somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So you can eat what you want, do what you want, and you can still be all right.
I feel like you'd be a live guy. You'd cross over and you'd say, yeah, I'll sign on that dotted line.
Is that even still a thing?
It's still a thing, but they're gonna merge potentially soon. We'll see. But yeah. Golf or tennis, maybe hockey, maybe cheerleading, volleyball, maybe race car driving, a little F1, a little NASCAR.
Yeah,
I think I'd go golf. just for every reason that Aaron just said, and like literally just watching the Masters is just like, God, wish I could be one of them.
Yeah, you guys are prisoner of the moment. One of the great masters of all time just happened.
I
so
love
everybody
golf.
in on golf.
I didn't
What
watch
are you,
a second
what are you
of it.
talking about? Love
Still
golf.
wasn't as good as 2019. Tiger.
It's amazing comeback. Hey, can you believe what was the stat that like the layoff from when Tiger won his last major to when he won in 19 was the same amount of layoff as when Rory won his last major and then just won that one.
Well, I thought Tiger he won the PGA Championship in 2018. Was his first win back.
Right. That
Is
might
that
have
not
been
a
what
major?
it was. That might have been what it was like that
Yeah.
layoff. I don't know. There's been a lot of stats floating around. But by the way, did you guys hear about the guy that is a fill-in in the Masters? If the cut happens and it's an odd amount of players, then
A
random
club member,
guy.
just somebody that's in the Augusta National Club gets to go play.
So awesome. Unreal. And the guy's just as a
Can you imagine getting that
stud.
call Friday night? Bob,
Yeah.
we doing in the morning?
Right.
You
We need
want to
you.
play this week? You want to play this weekend?
Yeah, it's like
Yep.
the
Yep.
third string goalie. like at hockey, what you got to fill
Yeah.
in
The emergency goalie.
the Zamboni driver. But yeah, that's awesome. Great answers, guys, all around. Or maybe I might just be the Rizzler. That's somewhat of an athlete, you know.
Nope, sure isn't.
Bring the boom.
This timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, a wide range of food service products, to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
So before we hop in the mailbag real fast, Jalen Hines, obviously, the big slime. Do you hear why he is nicknamed Big
Haynes.
Slime? Haynes,
Sweaty.
sorry. Yeah,
Sweaty.
isn't that funny? Funny, and he's still
it's like, look at it. He's sweaty. Of course he's
Yeah.
sweaty.
Yeah, Jalen Haynes. Yeah, I mean, if my name is Big Slime and the reason is because I'm sweaty, then I guess you just got to roll with it. Just got to take it.
You got to roll with it. Look, you can go get a 6'8", 260. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, 265. You can go get a guy like that with good, quick feet, good hands. I don't think we're going to be talking about poorly set screens out at the top of the key with him in the game, and a guy that can get you, 8, 10, 12 points around the rim. And what was the big stat? 100 more free throw attempts than Aziz.
Unreal.
And Aziz led the team in free throws. He took 100 more, more than double the number of free throws that Aziz took on the season. We have talked extensively about the need for this team to get to the free throw line. More. Big Slime gives you a guy that knows how to get to the free throw line. He's not great at making them, but he can get there. And if he makes 3 out of 5,
not horrible.
If he makes 3 out of 5, I'm good.
Yeah. The fact is, yes, you talk about his percentage, but he made more than anyone attempted on the entire team.
Right.
So it's like,
yeah.
Then we realized we still had Doug Sermons.
Yeah. Who's so good he reffed the national championship game.
Yeah, that's right.
And ruined it. Clown.
And and then the funny thing is also the fact that with him in the fold, Chad, I'm interested. Like, first off, George Mason is not like a bad program in any means. Like, this past season, they were just as much a bubble team as Cincinnati was towards the end of the season, and they were a couple of plays away from being in the tournament if they were to beat BCU. But Jalen Haynes is another guy. When you watch his highlight tape and things of that sort, it just, a lot of times on the offensive possessions, you would see Aziz get the pass at the top of the key and kind of just hold it and see if who's going to come get it. There was never a threat of Aziz to like turn, see an opening, drive the lane, and make a play off of that. When you watch Haynes, a lot of his plays seem to be in that mold, on top of what he's able to do else. So I just think it's a fantastic addition in multiple ways. Obviously, he's a big dude. He has been known to foul a good amount of times. So obviously, team's not done recruiting, and portal is still wide open. So, but I like this fight.
8 more days. The portal's open for 8 more days. So,
right. Yep.
You can
He's got some
remember.
dog.
Remember, you can sign guys after the portal closes.
Right.
They just have to enter by the 22nd. Sorry.
Exactly. Royer, did you watch any highlights of old Mr. Haynes, Big Slime?
I have not, but I liked. I mean, the stats and kind of the stature, kind of his ability from what I was reading up on the old X. I feel like it's exactly the type of player we need now. We just need him to kind of pan out and kind of live up to what he did at, what was it, George Mason? Is that what it was?
Yeah, George Mason. Yeah,
live up to what it was at George Mason. Up in the Big 12, it's definitely going to be a little bit harder to be as kind of like a bigger body enforcer type, maybe down in there. But yeah, I like that too. So I thought he was a good addition to kind of back up the two kind of culture, tough, kind of gritty guys we got. I think Kreese has still got skill to him though. So yeah, it's feeling good. Good first couple steps by Wes.
Wolfie, yes, 81% of the portal is still uncommitted, but 79% of those guys stink. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Sure. Well, and also, if you watch Haynes during that entire A10 tournament, especially against VCU, he was out there trying to just dominate people, whether it be scoring, whether it be
a little out of control in the championship
physical
game, but
oh my gosh,
he was doing everything he could to win that game.
He was going mini viral with like people just saying like, "Wow, I love watching this big man on George Mason. He is."
I've said it.
I
was like, wonder if they can get in on that. We could use one of those to make next year a little bit more entertaining. And there he is.
And
he's a Bearcat.
He doesn't give up around the basket either. He might not be. And the funny thing is, like, you see him that big, like he still like finds a way to play a little bit above the rim. Like some of his dunks, you're just like, whoa, all right, he's getting up and doing that. So excited to see what he does in the fold, and obviously he's a Bearcat. So not done yet though. So let's go ahead and hop in the mailbag before we have a 3-hour marathon episode of the BBP.
Let's. Starting off the football portion of the mailbag, with Brendan Sorsby locked in at number 1 QB, where do Samaj Jones and Brady Lichtenberg reside with respect to each other in the depth chart?
Lichtenberg is obviously going to be the backup. He's very clearly earned that job. Samaj has had a really good spring. Like we've talked about it a bunch. That, the ability that he has started to develop. He had started to find a little bit more touch on the shorter and the intermediate stuff. He started to read the field a little bit better. He's far from a finished project, but a lot of times, man, when you see guys struggle with the things that he struggled with early, they don't often round into form. And we have started to see some of that development happen with him, where he looked more comfortable playing quarterback. Last year, it looked like at times kind of running back with the ball in his hand with the option to throw, because he didn't have a lot of touch. He wasn't super accurate on the short and intermediate stuff. He had a cannon. He could launch the ball down the field, but that only helps you so much. And I think he has proven to the point that like he's earned his spot as a quarterback. He is no longer, to me at least, just an athlete, kind of placeholder in the succession line. So Lichtenberg's a backup quarterback. He has earned that. He has played well this spring. I haven't had any issues with him, the way that he's played, but I look at Samaj in a different light than I looked at him 9 months ago. So that's very much a positive thing.
Stock is rising.
Thrifty, I have joked with Satterfield a couple times that the basketball team's got a left tackle if they need to break glass in case of emergency and go get Big Slime and throw him out there to protect the blind side.
Goodness. All right. Is the good wide receiver play more to do with the quality of the wide receiver room now or how bad the DB room has been?
I don't think the DB room's been bad. I think they just have better wide receivers, guys that can actually get open. We've seen a lot more interceptions this spring than we saw a year ago. And that played out like once we got to the season. They did not have many playmakers at the back end of the defense. Menkins was really the only guy that you really felt like had legitimate make a play on the ball type ability. And I think there's more of those back there, but you've just got more talent at wide receiver. It's been a massive point of emphasis since they got here because that room was so bad. Because that room got decimated more than any other in the transition from the old staff to the new staff. I don't think it's an indictment on how bad the DBs have been at all. Yeah.
Anything to add, Brent?
I think like this question kind of cropped up 2 seasons ago when it looked like the wide receiver core was kind of just like dominating and everyone was like, oh geez, is this the DBs struggling or is wide receivers really that good? And I think it ended up being kind of a mix of both. And from everything that I've just gathered from talking to Nico and talking to Chad and hearing podcasts and whatnot is that that's not the case. It's actually high level performers on both sides.
All right. This running back room battle might be one of the most intriguing things this fall camp. Is it going to be a three-headed monster, or do you think they will settle on one and then have a change of pace back? Walker, Pryor, Williams, Covey, all looking like they can offer something.
I think you're going to have 2 guys at the top in Pryor and Tyree Walker, and then you'll have Chance Williams and Manny Covey battling for whatever is left.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What players from this year's team could you have added to the team that made the playoff to help beat Bama that year?
Dante Corleone.
Yeah.
Who else you got, Royer?
Look, I'm not taking any of the guys in the secondary off the field.
No. Receiver room, we got Alec, Trey Tucker, Trey Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think any of the guys. I mean, we haven't seen them play yet, so we can't.
Tight end is
say that.
Wiley and Lenny.
Yeah,
I think Royer could have helped the tight end room.
yeah.
The answer is definitely Dante.
I mean, they don't really have a left tackle right now, so that's not much of an option. There's not a lot. I mean, Dante for show.
Max Fletcher over Mace.
Maybe. That was Mason's last good year, though.
Yeah, Mace was awesome that year. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. What's next?
guess we'll see what the kicker looks like this year. Who knows?
Yeah, wrestling might be one. Wrestling might be one.
It's early, but any rumors of new football uniforms for 2025?
Yes.
Oh, baby.
Just leave it at that.
Expect that answer.
There are rumors of new football uniforms for 2025. I don't think they will be heavily altered, but I think they'll be different.
And who were the most impressive true freshmen this spring on offense and defense?
Not a lot of freshmen on defense this year that really got a lot of run. Like Tim Griffith looks the part. Didn't see him out there a whole lot. I get probably Daniel James on defense. Offense, Gio, Contosis, and Kamari Smith were both really good. The other one, and we don't mention freshman offensive linemen a whole lot.
Daniel James isn't even a true freshman, though, right? He was a redshirt.
Or is he a red shirt? Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. Jeremiah Kelly is going to be a mainstay on this offensive line for a while.
Okay.
He's already potentially in the mix to be the second string center.
Wow.
He's taken a lot of reps with the twos at center, and he's taken reps with the twos at guard. He is massive for an 18-year-old. It doesn't make any sense how you can look like that at 18 years old. But that is a name on the line. You hope you don't see him on the field this year, but keep an eye on Jeremiah Kelly. It's a big old boy.
That is the end of the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. Of the 15 scholarships available, over under on filing 11.5 this year. I think you meant filling.
They'll have more than 11 players. I don't know. Some of them might be not of Big 12 quality so that you can fill out your practice roster. But if you have somebody on the team, they will be on scholarship. That's the difference. So there's no more walk-ons. Just like in football, walk-ons are gone. They will have more than 11 scholarship players this year.
I think the line should have been 13.5.
I still probably would have taken the over because Wes loves having a scout team, and you need your walk-ons to do that. So
he loves
what used to be walk-ons.
My goodness.
Well, I think that's going to be a little different in the true have to buy a roster era. Ain't getting many dudes on discounts anymore.
Can't wait. Do you think the addition of Corey Evans can have some impact on what Wes runs offensively? Not that Evans is dictating the system, but he has some input on what will work with the guys.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think so either.
Corey's a scout. He's a behind the scenes guy. He's not. Does Zach Grant dictate what happens on offense or defense for Scott Satterfield? No. So also no.
All right.
But I guess it could negatively affect it. Like be like, whoa, who is this guy? And what am I supposed to do with him on offense? That was joking, tongue in cheek, but no, there's no way.
Chad, given way too expensive has been your response when asked on the board about certain players in the portal, what is our top allocation for any single player given our current budget? Over under 1.5 million.
Around 1.5. In that general vicinity of 1.5.
Anything more than that, you blow your wad. Literally.
Right. So if somebody I know is getting 2.5, 3 million in the portal, that's too expensive. If they're under 2, it's possible, I guess is a good way to put it. Anything over 2, it's not happening. Like just cross it off the board.
We out. We out. Ba-dum. Since Chad understandably cannot comfortably discuss players being targeted in the portal, what additional positions do you think we will focus upon? Also, as Chad linked Slime to Chad Dollar as a recruit, talk about the influence you feel Corey Evans is playing in assembling this year's portal recruits.
Again, you guys got to stick to one question. You're killing me with these 5-parters.
It's a great question.
Yeah. I think they're still looking at bigs. You are not set there yet. You need more help with the 4 and 5. What that looks like depends on what you can get with the money you have available. Like everybody thinks it's not fluid. It's not we're looking for this specific kind of guy and we're only going to go after this specific kind of guy. It's what's on the market, what is the price, and can you get them? And if you can get them, then you kind of figure it out, down the road. Center, power forward, maybe a wing if you've got anything left. But I think after because the big market is so scarce, because there's not a lot out there, you're going to have to pay at least at or maybe a little over market value to get into that market. I don't think that leaves a lot of money behind to add on the perimeter. We'll see. Maybe they can come up with something. But just in doing the GM from home packet that I've got, I don't know that you're going to have enough to get what you need on the inside and also make another significant addition to the perimeter. Unless, I reported on Bearcat Journal. It's out there, I guess. Jalen Celestine visited over the weekend. Maybe that's a guy that can give you some minutes at the 3 and give you some minutes at the 4. He played the 3 almost exclusively at Cal. He played the 4 almost exclusively at Baylor. So maybe there's a little bit of a hybrid role if you can land somebody like that can help you not only on the perimeter, but also as like a 4-man. But again, Aaron has heard me say this a couple times. I'm freaking out on combo forwards. Because usually a combo forward means you don't have the ball skills. You don't have the ball skills to play the 3, and you don't have the bulk to play the 4, and you just end up being a dude that's out there.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing with Celestine as well is the fact that he was playing the 4 kind of out of necessity towards the end of the season, obviously, because of the
injury. But he played it all year.
Oh, Jawanja. So
he just entered the portal.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right. Do you see recruiting staying the same with probably 1 to 2 high school recruits a year and the rest retention/portal, or could that change with the new GM?
Depends on who you can get. If you can get 2 really good high school players like they think they got this year, Sean Abayev and Keyshawn Tillery, you will take 2 really good high school players. If you don't, you're not going to take them just to have them on the roster, because all you're doing at that point is you're training them for someone else. And that's expensive. So, if they can find 2 guys that they think they're happy with and can contribute and actively be an impact on the program as soon as they get here, then you'll see high school guys. There could be a year where they don't take any, and then the next year they take 2 because they 2 or 3 because they feel like they got the right ones. I don't think it's as easy as just a catch-all, because if they didn't get Abayev, they probably would have just taken 1 high school guy this year in Tillery. So it's contingent on circumstance, and like the past 2 years have been really good high school classes. What happens if you get a year where like the 50th kid is really like the 70th or 80th kid in a good year?
Right.
So then you're taking a kid that you don't think can help you right away. Then you're going to have to go through with that kid and his handlers and say, look, you're coming here, but we don't think you're going to be a heavy minute guy right away. We're bringing you here to develop, which is a possibility, but there's not a lot. I mean, with the money that's out there to be made, there's not a lot of kids that are going to fall into that mold of like, take a little less to come here and develop. Well, I'm going to take that same amount of money from a team in the A10 that's going to have to play me 22 minutes a game. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to prove myself. And then I'm going to get a big fat raise in 2 years because I averaged 11-4. And somebody's going to pay me $1 million for my 11-4 in the A10.
True.
Thrifty Walrus in the chat said, combo forwards don't have the ball skills to play the 3 or the bulk to play the 4. And if they do, UC can't afford them.
That is a correct answer.
It's a fair statement. Yeah.
When do we expect a decision from Day and Tyler McKinley? I know the expectation has been they return, but no official word.
Nobody has mentioned an official word on either of those guys. They're not huge social media guys. I just kind of have them penciled in as coming back, unless I hear otherwise. And behind the scenes, to this point, I have not heard anything to indicate that those guys would be, hey, keep your eye out for when they enter the portal. Maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. But as it is right now, with or without an announcement, I just kind of have them penciled into the return. Maybe that's an error on my part in judgment, but I've heard nothing to indicate either of them are a flight risk. So I have not put the tracking monitor on them yet.
Pencils have erasers. And the last question from basketball. Would each of you rather the open assistant job go to pick one only, an X's and O's savant, a front court development expert, a former Bearcat, an ace recruiter, or someone who is an A through D but is part of a package deal that will help you land a starter level transfer you otherwise can't afford?
Either A or B. The only one I don't like C, no. If they fit one of the criteria and they happen to be an ex Bearcat, great. I'm not hiring an ex Bearcat just to have an ex Bearcat. I'll probably go. I don't know. A and B are essentially a tie for me. Like somebody that can really come in and run the offense, or somebody that has experience developing front court guys, because I think those guys are generally late bloomers. You know, the ones that aren't the elite of the elite, those guys usually need development. Like guards, yeah, guards can get better, but for by and large, guards, their profile is kind of who they are by the time that they're 19, 20 years old. Big guys, you've seen big guys 17, 18 years old that aren't that good, that are by 20, they're outstanding. So front court development or a different X's and O's guys, they're right neck and neck. For where UC is at, probably B, because I think you can get more out of being able to identify young talent, bring them in, and then in a year or two get them up to a much higher level.
Without knowing who we are going to have on this roster, I'm not ready to say we need a development expert, and I am ready to go X's and O's savant, because I've seen too much of this offense this past season where I was just didn't see them do anything.
Well,
A all the way.
Serious question, Aaron. What could you pick out in the design of an offense that you could say that's what they're running?
I don't know. Pass the fucking ball.
That doesn't have anything to do with the X's and O's, the design of the offense. That has to do with the player processing who's open, when to pass it, why to pass it.
When everyone's standing around, literally everyone's standing around, that's not an offense. That's
you think people standing around is the guy setting the screen, though? Or like the guy in the corner for spacing who is told to stand there is standing. That guy's just standing around. No, he's there to pull the defender out so that they can get an. Like, I just don't know. If you don't know the X's and O's, how do you know the X's and O's are bad?
Scoreboard is how I know it's bad.
Okay. Then you don't. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you can break it down and say this is where I think they failed at the X's and O's. I don't try to play X's and O's on football because I don't know them. Like I couldn't tell
I don't think
you what's
I don't think I
good
need to be
X's
able
and
to.
O's are bad.
I don't think I need to intellectually be able to break it down and tell you that our offense has not been good for the last several seasons.
Because they haven't had good offensive players. They had a 4 and a 5 that couldn't score. You could have ran the best offense in the country, but if you have 2 guys on the floor that can't score and 2 other guys on the floor that are inefficient, it doesn't matter what the X's and O's are. Like, that's my point that I'm getting at. That why I would pick like a development guy. Like, let's say Haynes comes in here and he works with the guy, a developmental guy, and all of a sudden he's even better than he was at George Mason. And now you've got a dominant guy that's getting you 15, 16 a night in the Big 12, in part because that developmental guy was able to work on his footwork and his positioning and the fundamentals of like big man play. I think it's hard to judge X's and O's when that team clearly had bad offensive players at multiple positions.
Aaron wants the Princeton offense. Bring it in. Backdoor cuts. I'm kind of a little bit with Thirsty Waters there. I mentioned it earlier with the addition of Haynes. It's just like, God love Aziz for all he did for, the things that he did well, but just like the high dribble handoffs and just him just not having the ability to either turn and shoot, to either turn and drive, to either to truly do anything other than just wait to get the ball out of his hands further away from the basket than he was before. It
also played a part in a lot of times why the offense had to start so far out.
Right. Yeah.
Because they could hard hedge and not really have to worry about Aziz.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to short roll. He wasn't going to pop and be ineffective, like be in a position to score. The only thing he could do is if you let the guard get downhill, he could slip behind you for a lob.
Right. Exactly.
So design, I think, maybe the design is bad, but I don't think we can even get to the design if you don't have players that can consistently score.
Yeah.
That's all. That ends the basketball portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the banks.
Banks.
I slipped one in here for fun. But what do you think of Colorado retiring Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter's numbers?
We can't retire Marty's.
A little ridiculous.
What are we doing here?
I'm joking. You know what? Good for them. Transcendent players, especially Travis. The other one is the son of the coach.
A little too much DR, in my opinion.
Poor Shiloh.
Yeah. We have to
could
do it right
could
now.
run under a 4-5. Poor Shiloh.
We have to do it for the spring game. Like, they don't even do that in baseball and football. You got to wait 5 years before you can get in the NFL or Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. We're doing it for the spring game.
Can't even get to the draft. They're still students, quote unquote.
Right.
Just crazy to me that.
Yeah, whatever.
Shadur's
It's on par with that older game.
It is.
Shadur's accolades are non-existent, and yet he's getting retired.
I like Shadur as a quarterback a lot. I think he's going to be I don't know if he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think he's going to start in the NFL for a long time. But we're retiring his number at the spring game? Fuck are we doing?
Say, hey, Prime, that's not normally how quickly people retire numbers. We're doing it anyway. They were the Louis I was mentioning.
Yeah.
What's your favorite UC burner account on Twitter?
I don't have one. They all suck. Put your name on it. Don't be a bitch.
Mike Boneyard.
Is that a real one?
Mike Boneyard and Charles Puck.
Are those yours?
No.
And the last question in the banks: who wins the NBA Finals?
Ooh.
Man, it feels like we're about to get a changing of the guard for a little while in the NBA, doesn't it? Like there's so many new, like the Cavs, the Rockets are the 2 seed. They've been awful. Oklahoma City is outstanding.
I think
But
the Lakers
Boston
are going to go to
could
the
win
finals.
it again.
It could be
Yeah,
Lakers, Celtics.
You think it's all these young bloods? They're too new to the game.
I hope the Lakers lose first round.
I
I
think
hate them.
LeBron and Luka are going to carry them.
Yeah.
I think Corey does get a ring if Oklahoma City wins. Like he was there all the way up to basically the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
He'd get a ring.
I would expect
cheer
he would
for
get a ring.
OKC for
Yeah,
him.
well, I'm a Thunder
for
guy.
Dave.
And for Dave. Dave and Corey are both Thunder guys.
And then I got a
I'm
little
gonna go for
heart,
them.
a little bit my heart for the Indiana Pacers. They're kind of getting hot at the right time.
How long are they going to let John Morant throw grenades at the fans?
Hopefully forever.
And the water.
Why did he just throw a grenade to the
He did the guns and they banned it.
Did you
Because
see?
he
throw
loves
a grenade
guns.
into the
Did you
fans?
see Marcus?
So now he's
Sasser?
throwing grenades.
Did you see Sasser when that whole thing was going on? And Sasser hit a 3, and then he started to do the guns, and then he quickly stopped and kind of aborted mission right away. It put him away. It's just oh, sorry, wasn't gonna do that.
The joke, Ryan, is that he's going through all of the Call of Duty options when you are switching weapons, and he's just picking a different emoji.
Yeah,
He's getting there eventually.
he's running out.
Yes.
Tari Eason gets a ring if the Rockets win, Chad.
Yeah, true.
Wow, that is true. Wow. I wonder if JB gets a ring too.
I'd rather have Rob Banks.
I was gonna say Rob Banks, start that, man.
That's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent.
Nico Palizzetti was on the pod earlier. What a goat. Just an absolute stud of a human. Fantastic hour with Nico. He breaks things down and builds up a brick wall and then allows us to all run through it after he's done talking to us. So, shouts to our boy Nico. Always comes on and does a fantastic job. Love having him on. Shouts to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Shouts to Quick Paper Supply for their timestamps. Shouts to Ryan Royer, the boy. He had a spectacular job on the course, the front 9 that is. And shouts to Aaron. He survived a tough drive from Athens. And outside of that, stay locked into BCJ. There's going to be more and more happenings out of the portal. There's going to be more and more things going on as spring football wraps up. And, of course, as the offseason continues to trickle for both sides. And baseball, what is it? The Crosstown Shootout baseball edition tomorrow? That's a force to be reckoned with there. So
that's the thing. 6 o'clock, I think.
Yep. New baseball podcast starts this week on Thursday.
Boom, baby. Boom, baby. Gotta love
8 p.m. Thursday night.
John Peter Nation.
John Peter. But you know what? For the guys, for the crew, for the squad, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young, and again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!